Hello, everyone at the Academy of Art University. Thank you for accepting my application for the MFA in Writing for Film, TV, and Digital Media. My name is Joseph Fuentes, a Navy veteran currently working as a wastewater treatment plant operator. I am here to tell you a story about my life and how I fell in love with storytelling and the screen. At some point in early grade school, my class was asked to write an essay about our lives. My essay came out as a perspective piece, personifying my life as a pencil. So it was called Life is a Pencil. In the pencil, I related what my childhood brain perceived as the most important aspects of life, most of which centered around actions and consequences. Today, my love for stories and telling them has taken center stage, and my purpose is clear. I am a writer. So here I am, seeking to change my life by pursuing screenwriting with pencil in hand. As long as I can remember, I've been captivated by two things: stories and adventure. I read, watched, listened to, and played story after story. I even started going off on my own adventures as a kid when I would sneak out of the house at night and wander around the neighborhood pretending to be a ninja. Well, let me tell you, when my parents finally found out about my adventures, they had very little interest in my story. Action and consequence were about the only story elements on their minds. Adventures in life create stories. Stories, in turn, make us dream of things like becoming a hero, of magic, and discovery and true love. Stories give meaning to our emotions and help us to understand the emotions of others. Stories taught me that there are as many perspectives in this world as there are people in it. And over the years, I began to realize how much these stories had shaped my life. Storytelling has many mediums. The one that had the most impact on my life was the screen. One of my favorite stories about life is a movie called Mi Familia, now titled My Family, with Edward James Olmos. In this movie, I saw my family. I saw my history and my heritage. I saw myself in the character Paco, played by Mr. Olmos. And years later, I realized I had even mirrored parts of Paco's story in my life. He was in the Navy and later decided to become a writer because he wanted to write the story of his family. Seeing this movie reinforced one of the most important lessons I have ever learned. Family never gives up on each other. Some stories are creation, some are experience. Some are not meant to comfort or inspire us so much as they are meant to help us survive. Stories of life or death situations give us a chance to avoid danger by telling us how someone else did or didn't. In my time as a U.S. Navy submariner, I learned that even the training that was meant to keep us alive and finish the mission was saturated with stories. Every tactic, every bit of wisdom and procedure came from the stories of my brothers and sisters and what they did when they had to succeed or die. In the Navy, we learned that to survive, we must be able to push past ourselves. Don't freeze or panic or the ship goes down. Save the ship, save yourself. The military is famous for its mantras and mental tricks. Cadence, rhythm, and repetition are storytelling elements that meant to keep us focused as our adrenaline rises. That training may have saved my life and everyone on my ship. My life or death story happened when my ship, the USS Philadelphia, was run over off the coast of Saudi Arabia by a 600-foot Turkish freighter. This was the first time in my life where I actually thought, am I going to die? The experience was dissociative. When water was sheeting down the bulkhead and quickly filling the bilge, my mind sectioned off parts of my perception in order to isolate the part that could not stop imagining what it would be like to drown. Such was my training. After relentless drilling, my body knew what to do and moved on its own. Get the tool roll, report to machinery room, don the sound-powered phones, relay message to damage control center. I performed all these actions as if they were choreographed. Our training, that relentless repetition of movements and knowledge, forced me and the rest of my crew to move in unison, and we saved the ship. When I left the Navy and returned to school to finish my bachelor's degree, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Even at 25 years old and having seen the world, my purpose was as clear as mud. I struggled a great deal, but when I graduated, it was with a degree that I had designed myself, titled Human Artistic Communications. Its purpose was to create a new system of education that could better equip the coming generations to interpret the stories of the world and this ever-changing phenomenon known as life. Well, when this idea didn't pan out as a career, I fell back on my experience in the Navy as a mechanic on the submarine. And thus I began my career as a wastewater treatment plant operator, in which I can't help but find a little poetry. After all, not everyone can say they've literally worked at the ass end of society. And I've heard every crappy pun under the sun. My life has been chapters in a book, growing up, enlisting, returning to pass a milestone. These chapters are now complete. And as I turn the page on what will be the fourth chapter in my life, my purpose has become more and more clear. Stories are everything to me. They tell me that life has pattern and rhythm, and that gives it meaning. That meaning may be significant or it may be earth-shattering, but it is there. And I want to share those meanings with the world. There is a story in every corner of our perception and every minute of our lives. Stories can change the world. Stories can change lives and save them. I decided I had a part to play in this narrative, and that part was the narrator, the storyteller, the screenwriter. As I sit here now imagining how my life is about to change by entering this program, I see myself letting my imagination run wild like stallions on an open range. But it's more of a ride than it is a direction. I can't wait to start this ride. So here I am, pencil in hand. Thanks much.